Chapter 29 of Dead Rock gave us some massively important information, not only tying back to Yakuto's backstory, but full context of what happened to Bebel seemingly, and the connection between them and the destruction of these particular groups of characters' roots and their villages and towns and the people that they love. God in Dead Rock destroyed multiple people, and not only the human realm, but in the demon realm. And what he did was had the biggest connection that I don't see many people talking about from what I've seen on Reddit, in the subreddit for Dead Rock, and online. And that's the fact that the people that were killed, that the main reason that God came down, Alfred, that he came down to these villages and basically slaughtered Yakuto's entire clan and Bebel's in various different ways. Members of these clans, of these particular roots in the demon realm, were part of his elite guard God Saves. Now, I've been putting off making a video on God Saves for years, because I wanted to make a video when they were introduced in Chapter 6 with Yakuto's backstory. But I put off on that because literally I had no real information on them. But come Chapter 29, they're mentioned for the first time in 23 chapters, and we know seemingly another member of this group, and now the children of these groups have come together for revenge. But the question is, are there more out there? And what is the reason why God Saves was taken out? This elite group that was charged with basically being the elite guard and protectors of Alfred, of God. Well, I might have an idea. But before we jump into things, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, shows you guys enjoy what I make here on the channel, and shows you want to see more. I'm really trying to do more Dead Rock content between the months because it's a good manga, and I really need more people to jump onto it, especially if you are a fan of any of Hiromashimo's works like Fairy Tail, Eden Zero, or Rave Master, because he is doing some different stuff with it, and you can tell by how he's writing the story and character. Dead Rock is insane, so let's just jump right into my thoughts on God Saves and why they were destroyed. So in Chapter 6, in Yakuto's backstory, we learn from Yakuto's father that he is part of God Saves, an elite guard group of characters in the demon realm that protect God. They are his personal bodyguards, and Yakuto's father has met and been with God for many years and knows him inside and out. They were essentially similar to friends, as well as other members of this group. And we also learn in 29 that Bebel, the Hekateshir, I hope I'm pronouncing his title correctly, his family member, I believe it was his father, was also a member of God Saves. And what him and Yakuto have in common is that both of their clans, their roots, their villages, and family members, and just anyone that they knew in their clans and roots, were slaughtered by God. Now, in Yakuto's case, he conjured up a giant typhoon, killing everybody very quickly, with Yakuto barely surviving. But with Bebel, he had a much more torturous way of killing everybody, and that it was literally crucifying all of them and having them starve to death. Starve to death and be completely dehydrated with no water at all, with Bebel being the last one, barely surviving, but only thanks to Yakuto, which the imagery is haunting. Like the amount of detail Mashima went to by literally seeing that and literally giving us an image of one person that was the last person left alive with Bebel just passing on right in front of a child. That's dark. And Yakuto saw his entire family, friends, and everybody he knew since he was a kid eviscerated by a literal hurricane typhoon conjured up by the guy that his dad admired and considered a very good and close friend. So, yeah. But that brings us to this. Why was God Saves destroyed? If it was these specific members, or was it all of God Saves? Let's go with the first option. Let's say it was just Yakuto and Bebel's fathers, members of God Saves, that were killed, but also had their respective clans and root members killed, seemingly for no reason. God showed up to Yakuto's village to talk to Yakuto's father, wanted to take away Yakuto's mom. When there was refusal, he killed everybody. Wiped out the entire clan, no questions. Bebel, he starved them all to death and crucified them. Very brutal and dark. At first, I'm like, why would he do this? My answer, and this could tie into why the potential of the entirety of God Saves might have been destroyed or slaughtered, is that they would know if something was up with God. Being his personal guard, they would know him inside and out. They would know his basic personality, how he would do things. And even Yakuto's father clocked that something was up with God. He wasn't sure, but he knew something seemed off. And that was probably the main reason why he killed him. And it was all just pretense to eradicate everybody else because, well, if he killed a member of his high guard without giving a good reason, might as well get rid of everybody else so there's no, people saying anything else. And the same thing could have been true for Bebel's father. That could have very well been the case. And I don't know if the rest of God Saves is there. But either way, this would all be for the sole purpose of maintaining faith in the almighty God that the people of the Demon Realm worship and admire. Because think about it, we learned that his weakness is faith. So, if something that, with that quick change in God, being something that would lose faith, if his closest subordinates lost faith in him, people that were close to him, people with not just the power, but perhaps the influence in their own prospective clans, tying back to perhaps very important roots, would very much be, well, the ones that would have the biggest blow to the faith. And it would spread like wildfire, weakening him to such a vast degree. And if that is the case, then he could not have taken that massive of a risk. And so, with this change in his demeanor, and we still don't know what changed him, he decided to go the safer option and basically butcher everybody that was close to him. And he found joy in it, which is just as, if not even more, twisted than the punishment that he imposed on Yakuto and Bebel's clans. Now, I do want to add in a third character to this, and that is Alicia, aka Chaco, the Black Wizard root, and the person that basically the fanbase just calls Zeref's daughter because she's the Black Wizard and has a similar clothing design. But despite that, Zalicia, when she was talking to Yakuto and revealed her identity to her, flat out just said that she wants revenge on God too, and that's why she wanted to team up with Yakuto in the first place and was seeking him out. We don't know her full reasonings for this. She doesn't seem as traumatized by God in terms of wanting revenge. It could be something petty, but it could also be the case that Zalicia's parents or someone related to her was also part of God Saves, and they were killed, and Zalicia probably wasn't around for this to happen, and perhaps caught in the aftermath, or was in some sort of magic spell that protected her from being killed like anybody else. And she could also be a sole survivor like Yakuto and Bebel. And that's why she went to Dead Rock, obviously, to potentially, like Yakuto, find allies and find a way to get revenge and kill God. So that could very much be the case. She could also, without Yakuto really knowing, be a descendant of God Saves. Now, you would think that after Chapter 6, that Zalicia would probably say something that is that important to Yakuto after he reveals his backstory to the whole class. Well, the funny thing is, Mashima either strategically did this or did this by mistake. Zalicia, when Yakuto was explaining his backstory, was not around. Literally, before this happened, Zalicia was in the classroom in her Chaco form when she, was undercover, before revealing her full identity. And when Yakuto came back after the punishment from Lilith and losing 90% of his full dragon powers, everybody was crushed by rocks, but Chaco, Zalicia, was not around after the crushing of the rock on top of the class until Yakuto showed up. And she was gone for the rest of the chapter. We don't see her until she revealed herself as Zalicia in Dead Velocity, the library of Dead Rock. So, she has no idea Yakuto's father was a member of God Saves unless he mentioned it to her at some later point, but that might not be it. And maybe now that Bebel revealed something, after his backstory, after the emotional moments, now they go to the human realm, maybe Zalicia will reveal that maybe she is related to God Saves or someone from God Saves in some way, shape, or form, connecting her and Yakuto even more to their want for revenge. Same with Bebel now, making it three main characters that want revenge on God, before meeting at Dead Rock. And Frey is number 4. And I guess the rest of Class F with Mikoto, Hani, and Ryzen also being those characters. But still, God Saves is a powerful group of characters that was set up at the beginning. I thought they were going to be the main antagonistic force once we beat the 4 demon teachers and go and fight God himself. But now, they might all be gone because the change in his demeanor and the way he's doing things was a threat to his faith towards him, and so he had to take out his closest allies and adversaries to that extent in order to maintain the faith that he had in the rest of the demon world towards him. And with that out of the way, God Saves is no more. And for all we know, the people in the demon realm probably don't even know that God Saves is gone. They might still be around in the public knowledge, but the group itself could be, well, not around. Now, there's always a possibility that just Bebel and Yakuto's parents, maybe Zelisha's, were killed, members of God Saves were killed, but perhaps there were other members of God Saves that remained that God himself, Alpha, didn't think would be a threat to his faith, and so left them alive, for all we know. Or they could know about why he's changed, but still have faith in him and want to stick with him anyway. Heck, I forgot the general's name from Ryzen's backstory, who we really need to get back to. For all we know, he could, now that he's in Dead Rock, perhaps he might be a new member of God Saves. Maybe this changed Elfid made an entirely new group of characters for God Saves, and that is, in fact, why he's bringing so many people to the school. Or maybe that's why the idea of God Saves being gone or disappearing is not in the public knowledge. But even then, who knows? That is just my theory on this. But yeah, that's all I really gotta say. God Saves was taken out because they had a threat to this new changed or altered personality of God and his faith-based power system, and so they had to go. And this could be a connection with Zelisha as well, and for all we know, it could just be an entirely new group, or the group just doesn't exist anymore, and the rest of the Demon Realm has no idea or clue that that great and powerful personal guard of their god is no longer around because he saw them as a threat. But that's just my thoughts on this group of characters that I originally thought was going to be part of the final force of antagonists. It could still very well be the case, but looking less and less likely every day now. And why God killed them, seemingly, and the big connection between Yakuto and other characters in the series. But you guys let me know what you think in the comments section down below, and how you like this type of, well, video format that I'm trying out right now, especially for Dead Rock. And let me know what you think was going to happen in the future of the series, and what other things you'd like me to talk about in regards to Dead Rock going forward. And once more, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel, and shows you want to see more. And with all that said and done, hope you all have an awesome day.